and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 scariest kindergarten stories. Now these range from classic spooks to some awful events that have taken place at kindergartens, which is North America and Australia's word for pre-elementary school or primary school, basically very young kids. Before we get started on this at times pretty stressful list, why don't you guys let me know your happiest memories from kindergarten? Also, are you still friends with anyone you met there? I'm still friends with one of my majorest babes of all time, Holly Mingay, so if you're watching, I love you, you lifelong pal. Coming in at number 10, we have the kid who brought a beer to class. I guess this is a lot of parents' nightmares. The kid picks up the wrong can and accidentally chugs a beer. To be honest though, I wouldn't be sending my kindergarten-aged kid off to school with a full-size adult can of Coke, but that's just me. Anyway, here's the story. In May 2015, a kid caused national headlines when he brought a Coors Light to school. It seems the kid was trusted to grab his own can of drink to put in his packed lunch. The teachers only became aware that the kid had a beer when he dropped his lunch bag and the drink came rolling out. Must have been a bit of a shock. It seems that the child's parents hadn't actually checked what he'd put in the lunch bag, and I guess maybe it's an honest mistake. Luckily though, the alcohol was spotted by a parent who saw the can rolling. The teachers quickly confiscated it before it could descend into anything worse. Had the kid or another kid in the class drunk the beer, it could have gone from chaos to catastrophe pretty quickly. Coming in at number 9, we have a kid abducted from kindergarten. Kindergartens are sadly often the scene of abductions, be it from parents who have not been granted custody of the child or from a more sinister force. There are a lot of safeguards to protect children these days, but sadly it does still happen. In 2013, a 22-year-old woman from Philadelphia donned a Muslim dress and veil in order to disguise herself as a kindergartner's mother. How absolutely horrifying and disgusting is that? A person can use a disguise such as that to steal a child and nobody's any the wiser. Christina Rogustas walked into a school and led the girl away. She then bundled her into a laundry bag and held her captive for 19 hours, during which time she abused her. The girl was found the next day at nearly 5 in the morning when a man heard her screams coming from a playground. School officials didn't realize the girl was missing for 6 hours, and the victim's family sued the Philadelphia school district. Coming into number 8, we have the slapping teacher. I imagine that growing up in China is pretty different and the school system may be more intense and a bit stricter, but this is off the charts. By no means do I think this is anyway reflective of the entire country, but what this Chinese teacher did to her kindergarten students who got a maths question wrong is truly awful. Footage of the attack was recorded and leaked and was so horrifying that it made national news in China. We see a grown-up woman sitting around a table with 7 studying kids. In the footage, the woman slaps one 5-year-old. Not only does she slap the 5-year-old, she slaps him 70 times and also hits 2 other children. The school in Tianjin in the Shanxi province has since been closed. Coming into number 7, we have outbreaks of disease. I don't have any kids yet, but my sister does, and one thing I'm quickly learning is that it's a hotbed for sickness. One kid gets sick, they all do, and their parents too. However, sometimes the illnesses can be serious if they're not dealt with properly by the school. One kindergarten in the southern district of Hong Kong saw a serious outbreak of hand, foot and mouth disease in June 2018, so very recently. 20 children in one class developed the disease, which can kill. 14 boys and 6 girls aged between 3 and 5 were struck down with the illness. This is characterized by rashes and lesions appearing on the skin as well as ulcers in the mouth. A lot of parents pointed their fingers at the kindergarten for bad sanitation. Coming into number 6, we have Swaziland school terror. In April 2013, a teacher from Makonde Jane Primary School in Swaziland in Africa claimed to have been attacked by evil spirits after leaving the school. He said actually he was going to quit his job because he thought his life was in danger. A further 2 male teachers claimed to have been visited by a spirit in their sleep that attempted to strangle or sit on their stomachs in order to suffocate them. The phenomenon had also been seen to affect pupils at the school, and the school was closed as a result in order to cleanse the building of evil. During a prayer for the school, its teachers, pupils and their parents, it is said that strange voices were heard coming from the school, which is pretty spooky. We have another ghost in a primary school, this time in Jaipur in India, coming into number 5. I've always wanted to go to Jaipur, although I think I'd steer clear of this school in the Tonk district. In 2014, nearly 300 people performed a Havan ritual at a primary school for fear it was haunted by ghosts. 170 pupils had avoided classes for 5 days. This was because of rumours of a little girl ghost leading to 3 primary school kids fainting. Parents concluded the reason for the trio's fainting was that the spirit was malicious. They said the ghostly girl pushed them towards a toilet. Now this generated widespread panic across the school. Coming into number 4, we have the abandonment after Chernobyl. The situation for the children of Pripyat could have been more terrifying had they been in school when the catastrophic Chernobyl accident took place, but luckily they weren't. It happened overnight. Nonetheless, a lot of children were still very much affected by the nuclear fallout. They had to leave their homes and their schools forever, abandoning their town. This is what a kindergarten in Chernobyl fallout zone looks like today. It's truly terrifying. Children's toys litter the floor and rooms sit abandoned in disarray. The whole place looks like a school from a horror movie. Coming into number 3, we have the rabbit killer. Sometimes the scary kindergarten stories involve kids being truly terrifying creeps. The kids aren't always the victims, put it that way. In a Teacher Asked Me Anything on Reddit, there was a discussion involving primary school and kindergarten teachers where they were answering the question, what is the most shocking display of psychopathic-like behaviour you've ever seen? A lot of teachers talked about pupils stabbing each other or their other teachers with pencils, but this story caught my eye as being especially messed up. This comment from Karaoke is pretty weird. They wrote, a student said that he had killed some bunnies and 2 birds. He wrote about it in his journal and he even drew a picture. Sure enough, the carcasses were found in the playground at recess. When we asked him why he did it, he said he wanted to know what it would feel to kill something. Right. I don't want to say future psychopath in the making, but like, coming into number 2, we have the moment the president learns your country is under attack while he reads you a school book. So we've all seen the footage from the moments that President George W. Bush learns of the 9/11 attacks. Rarely in history have we ever had the chance to witness someone's reaction to a national disaster firsthand, but the cameras were ready and rolling as Bush read a children's book to the kids at Emma E. Brooker Elementary School in Florida. The school has kids from pre-kindergarten up to ages 5 and 6. Now Bush was reading a story called My Pet Goat to kids as he learned the news. Now, he finishes the story and then he gets to work. Some of the kids from the class, now grown up, remember the moment that the president learned, saying that he went red, but they were glad that he finished the story as it would have been even more terrifying to them if he'd abruptly stopped. I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about this. The kids of the school were well behaved as they were swept up into the frenzy, but can you imagine how terrifying it must be? The president first addressed the nation from the school. Now at that age, you don't quite know what's going on or the seriousness of a situation, but you pick up on the adult's fear and stress making you scared. I remember coming home from school in England on 9/11 and only understanding the true importance of the events when my dad sat looking at the TV in silence for hours. Finally, coming into number 1, we have one of the worst school-based real-life horror stories of all time. We have the Beslan Massacre. September the 1st to the 4th, 2004 were some of the darkest days in modern history, let alone being the worst first day back of school for a child, parent or teacher that they could ever imagine. In Beslan, Russia, a crisis developed as a group of 30 Islamic militants and Chechen rebels stormed a massive school on its first day. They took 1,100 people hostage, including 777 children, over the course of 4 days. Sadly, 334 people died, including 186 children. A further 700 were moderately to seriously injured. 100 or more of the dead burned alive. The final day of the siege was the worst for the children. An explosion caused by the militants collapsed the roof of a gym, which crushed a lot of people. Prior to that, a lot of the hostages had been shot at and some purposefully executed. The school had pupils from nursery age through kindergarten and up until middle school age. There were 15 babies being nursed by 11 women on site, which were released amid negotiations. There is a terrifying and poignant image of baby Alonya Teskava being rescued by Russian Special Forces commanders. The images of children escaping is just so heartbreaking. Children below the age of 5 died in the carnage. Of course, the disaster didn't just kill youngsters, it mentally scarred some of them for life, and also some of their parents died in the massacre. Survivors had to resort to drinking their own urine as they were so thirsty whilst in captivity. The Beslan disaster is truly one of the scariest stories around and one of the worst tragedies to ever take place at a school. So guys, that was a really intense list. How terribly sad. Which one of these stories do you think was the scariest? Let me know in the comment section down below. Before I go, I'm just going to read some of your comments from the scary things you shouldn't Google, which is a collaboration with Sir Daniel Burke and I. Loads of you are commenting to say how happy you were to see us both in a video, and honestly, we love making collaborations, so we'd happily do more. Red Chili said, I am the person who is going to search them all. you know what? I've learned from that. Like, I used to be that person, but then I was mentally scarred by a few things I saw, so now I just don't do it. Fluffy Candy wrote, the scariest thing I ever googled was Undertale. Case in point. Do you know what? I'm not even gonna Google that. I'm just not gonna do it to myself. So guys, do make sure you leave a comment on this video for the chance of being read out in a future top 10. Also make sure you like this video, share it with a friend, and stay subscribed for more most amazing lists. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and I'll see you next time.